از دسته؟
منم از مادر بودن خسته شدم.
گناه من چیه؟
گناه من چیه؟
گناه تو نه که بی خودی من زاییدی.
Set in Tehran, the film Ava presents an intimate view of life in Iran through the eyes of a teenager. Canadian director Sadaf Faruhi wrote the script while living in Montreal.
It is not autobiographical, but it is very based on my story.
With 8 nominations, Ava is the biggest film at this year's Canadian Screen Awards, and it already won the Telefilm-sponsored Best First Feature Award. Telefilm is the federal funding agency that gives Canadian films a fighting chance. In the last fiscal year, it spent $101 million on production and promotion. But as Ava was getting off the ground, Telefilm only offered Faruhi advice, not funding.
But I prefer to have money. Why? Because I had lots of difficulties. And I have to tell you that sometimes I eat less to keep all the money.
Really?
Really.
Ava is just the latest of a growing number of homegrown films set outside Canada. Last year, Old Stone, a movie set in China, landed 5 CSA nominations and won the same Telefilm-sponsored Best First Feature Award. The irony is, for 2 years in a row now, the films that won the Telefilm Award didn't qualify for its funding. Financial support was also a problem for In Her Place. The 2015 Korean language film received 7 nominations and no Telefilm support, leaving the director struggling to get it seen.
Just trying to get it out into the marketplace was the difficulty because of just the language barrier and all sort of the limitations of sort of the way things are structured.
Here's the problem. The face of Canadian cinema is changing, but to qualify for Telefilm funding, a movie must be in French, English, or an Indigenous language.
So why can't you finance these films that the industry has judged as some of their best?
I don't know what to answer to that. It's a very difficult choice that we have to make. We don't have a lot of money, that's for sure, and there are a lot of projects in English and French that are requiring our financing.
The language issue is nothing new. This Hindi language movie, Water, was a Canadian Oscar contender back in 2005. And here's the English language version.
Yes.
You are a fool. Nobody marries a widow.
It was never released. In fact, it was only shot by Canadian director Deepa Mehta just to satisfy Telefilm funding requirements. Requirements some say should be re-examined.
Is there a way, given that we participate in all these international co-productions all over the world, that we can't find a way for films made under the rules of those co-productions, which might be in languages other than English or French or an Indigenous language, to also be part of the Telefilm family?
There's something to be said for a sort of a post-national cinema where Canadian can be sort of be at the vanguard of that, which is, you know, we can make films that take place in different countries, but they're uniquely Canadian because this is a country that embraces other cultures.
In the meantime, Shin says his next feature will be an English language film set in Canada. This time, he's hoping to get Telefilm funding. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.